friends, this is Smita, an executive coach and a personal empowerment life coach. And today we are going to look at the 13 tips to say no at work politely and effectively. The word no is often associated with negativity. In our society, the default answer to nearly every question is yes. All advertisements are geared towards making us say, yes, I need that. The hardest thing about saying no tends to be the fear of letting someone down, whether it is a manager, colleague, or friend. Or perhaps you don't want to seem out of your depth. But sometimes saying yes when we really mean no at work can lead to resentment, frustration, confusion, and dissatisfaction. You end up feeling overwhelmed and being taken advantage of. And there are many situations in which it's entirely justifiable to say no. Like when you have unrealistic deadlines, there are too many things on your plate. Someone is asking you to do something that's just not your job, especially when you have something that actually is in your job description and you need to focus on that. Friends, saying no is a delicate art. There are quite a few things you need to keep in mind to do it correctly at work. Try the tips mentioned here to say no more effectively. Number one, reframe your thinking about the word no. Re-examine your views about saying no and reframe what you think about it. Saying no to something that does not matter means saying yes to something important to you, such as a priority task you want to save time for. Saying no means you respect your time and want to be intentional about spending it. Your time and energy are finite, so you need to pick wisely what you will spend on. You don't become a bad person for prioritizing. Number two, be both assertive and polite. Pay attention to your tone and body language. On one hand, you have to be straightforward and assertive and say no firmly. On other hand, you should also be pleasant and polite. Have a neutral tone, not being mean without coming across as too nice. Finding the right balance is essential to delivering the no right. Number three, pay attention to your body language. When saying no, remember the power of non-verbal communication. Look at the person in the eye when you say the no. Shake your head at the same time as saying no. Stand up tall and use a firm tone in your voice. A body language that speaks no include folding arms and crossing legs, sitting back, turning torso and feet away to disengaged, a closed posture. Body language that speaks yes include leaning forward, an open posture, sitting upright but comfortably, enthusiastic hand movements. Number four, offer an alternative. Try to come across as someone who really wants to help but doesn't have the bandwidth to take on more work. For this, offer to help your colleague or boss find a solution. You are still refusing while coming across as a team player at work. You could also ask some of your fellow colleagues if they are free to help. Otherwise, share your schedule with your boss and highlight a future date where you have the time to start the project. Next tip, take time to think it through. Nobody needs an answer straight away. So when your boss or colleague asks you to help them with a new project, take your time and think of all the consequences. Tell the person you will check your schedule and get back to them. Reflect if you have some free time and what comes first if not. Is it what you have on your diary or this new project? If you feel stressed far enough and other things are a priority, you have your answer there. Next, ask for help prioritizing. Certain projects have more preference than others at work. Depending on what kind of position you are in, your manager may be the best person to ask this question. Your idea of what must be done and your manager's to-do list could be different. So ask for help prioritizing your schedule. And if they think you can push back on the timeline of another project, you can work together to do so. Next, acknowledge the other person. A little bit of empathy goes a long way in maintaining a good relationship with others, despite saying no. Always speak from a place of compassion and make people feel heard. Use phrases such as, I realize that. As an example, I understand you are really busy and I wish I could help, but my schedule is completely packed. This helps you come across as someone who understands the viewpoint of another person and would really like to be of assistance, but cannot. Next step, block time in your calendar when you are busy. If you want to show you are busy without actually saying it, block the time in your work calendar when you don't want to be disturbed. Making your work tools like calendar, messenger, etc. speak for you helps avoid confrontation, which is a big plus. Next, practice. As they say, practice makes perfect. Practice saying no in situations that aren't crucial, such as saying it to a salesperson trying to get you to buy something you don't want. Consciously try saying no to such a person for at least 7 days. This will help you build confidence to say no when it really matters. You may also try out the no answer on something small at first. Maybe something as simple as, would you like more coffee? Or some such similar question. Notice the contentment and satisfaction you feel in giving an honest answer or even just using the word. See where you can begin to apply that answer in comfortable and empowering ways. Notice how your body reacts and feels more alive. Experiment with new questions and new opportunities. You can even rehearse saying it in the mirror if it works for you. Next, prepare for a possible negative feedback. No matter how nice and reasonable your no is, some people aren't going to take it well, especially if it's your first time setting boundaries. Be mentally prepared for that option and know it has nothing to do with you. Reactions of other people are not your fault. Everyone is responsible for their own. Tip number 10, don't go into too much detail. You should, of course, give a reason for your refusal, but have to convey it crisply. There's no need to tell your whole life story. Like, I'm so sorry, but my manager gave me another task and I'm already working on one big project and I'm having a hard time finishing everything and I never come home before 8 p.m., etc., etc. All this is a bit too much. Instead, say, thanks for reaching out, but I need to finish this high priority project I'm working on. So I unfortunately won't be able to help you. This is good enough. Next, don't over apologize. Don't say sorry too many times. In fact, it's better to avoid saying it and turn the sorry statement into a thank you statement whenever possible. For example, say thank you for your patience instead of sorry for waiting. Last but not the least, don't give false hopes that you will change your mind. If you already know what your answer will be, don't prolong saying it. It will only get harder with time, especially if you're an anxious person. But even if you aren't, that mental burden will add to the extra stress. Saying no at work is not easy, but it's often necessary. You must set boundaries and stand up for yourself. Stop over apologizing and succumbing to pressure to put the needs of others before you. Saying no is a skill that has to be learned over time, and practice makes perfect. Take professional help if, despite your best efforts, you are not able to say no effectively. reach out to me through the particulars mentioned in the description box of this video. That's all for today, friends. I'll see you next time. Until then, bye-bye.